Jill Biden's a nice lady. I like her a lot.
Now I'm excited to introduce Tara Huber. I often say that educators are the
Joe's
best
lucky to have her.
organizers. How many educators are out there?
He's been punching above his weight for decades, haven't Jill?
We educators know how to
Jill
make
should be
something
running
out of
herself.
nothing.
She's 22
Let's
times
fight
better
for
than
our
Joe.
communities, and we know when to use our teacher voice. And Tara, I know you are proving me right today. So come on up, Tara.
Oh, good on you, Tara. Oh, they've got some music playing. Oh, Jill's just put her mask on.
We're waiting right now. This is a little bit unusual and wasn't according to the script here. Joe Biden speaking.
They're in
right
a parking lot
An educator in Bucks County is going to be
in
formally
Pennsylvania, Bristol.
The former vice president there in Bucks County. It'll be
100 yards from the nearest person.
Of course, he has been making a pitch for educators.
17 cars there. People in cars.
Schooling.
I wish Neil Cavuto would shut up and just let him talk.
I'm truly humbled. My name is Tara Huber, and I'm a veteran high school English teacher of 23 years in the Neshaminy School District right here in Bucks County.
Very good. Very good. She's a teacher. Good on her. Don't forget to put the boot into Trump.
President of the Neshaminy Federation of Teachers.
Stand by. This would be good.
And a wife and mother of 4 children. I could not be more honored to be here today supporting our next president, Joe Biden.
Yeah, right.
Joe Biden is a champion of the working class.
Oh, absolutely.
He has humble roots, like you and me.
Humble roots. Oh, don't forget Scranton. Yeah.
My father was a union plumber in Local 690.
He was in Scranton for 3 years.
And my mother worked as a secretary for a manufacturing company right here in Bucks County.
Good on you,
They are proud, hard-working people who
I'm
are
sure
fortunate
they
enough to make a decent wage, have access to health care,
Yep.
and have a pension for retirement.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to continue monitoring this here. This is a little bit of a curveball that showed us here of an educator about to introduce the former vice president. I want to go to my friend and colleague Leland Bitter in Washington. And Leland, what's interesting about this Pennsylvania
I wish Neil Cavuto would shut up. Sometimes I don't mind listening to the opposition to hear what they say. Neil Cavuto is a pain in the ass. I used to respect him immensely.
These locales, I'm told, because of the high unemployment rate and that there are bigger concerns. Leland, what do you make of that and how they play this thing?
Leland's
all
all right.
Hand in hand, right, Neil? In the sense that you've got
Leland's good
high
value.
Unemployment in places that people lost their jobs in large part over the past 10 years or 15 years because of the energy policies put in place by the Obama-Biden administration. So it's difficult to come back to a place and say, by the way, you lost your job because we said we were going to put coal out of business, or there were restrictions on coal and restrictions on fracking during my administration. But now I'm back here to tell you why I didn't mean that I'm going to end fracking, and why my vice presidential candidate didn't mean she was going to end fracking, but we're going to phase out the energy industry, but we're here to help you with your unemployment.
Now, this is the best invention, because I can press pause, and on cable TV, I can even rewind and go back. And if I miss something, I can check it out in detail. And as a former investigative journalist of 35, nearly 40 years, this is a valuable tool, this. And I can also shut them up and speak when I want to be heard. So that's the other advantage. Now, I'm filming myself watching Fox News for a very important reason. I want some of you to understand that I began covering Trump when he was Citizen Trump. And if any of you go back through my Facebook and Twitter posts of 2015, you will see that I have written many occasions pleading with him not to run, because I had grave fears that he would just do ridiculous things and that there would be international scandals, or there'd be international problems caused. I didn't think he would do a good job. But then 2016 came around and I started to see that he was starting to make a bit of traction, and he was starting to make some promises and starting to sound pretty good and sounded serious. Then he got some heavy hitters around him that started to believe what he was telling them. And some fairly high-class, respectable academic types were starting to say similar things to Donald Trump. And so I decided to go neutral on him. Because originally I was hoping that Hillary Clinton would get elected. But Hillary let me down badly with the 33,000 emails, and then she was hitting the grog and she was starting to fall over, and she just obviously lost touch with the common people. And then the big bomb dropped, and that was on the tarmac when I saw what Bill Clinton had done with the Attorney General Lynch, having a very secret private meeting, most untoward. I deduced quite accurately that he'd slipped her a USB stick containing the Steele dossier, which has since been totally discredited, and it's been proven to be fake. And on the basis of that information, we had 3 years of investigations into the Trump administration. So, cut a long story short, being Australian, I always go for the underdog. And Trump soon became apparent that he was the underdog. And so I started trying to level the playing field. That's all I've been doing in my coverage of the American political system in the last 4 years. I've just been trying to level the playing field. And my God, had the media against him. He's had Hollywood against him. He's had he's had everyone against him except the Republicans. He's had some Republicans against him. But despite it all, he hasn't done his block. He hasn't got angry. He's just shrugged it all off and carried on and worked harder than any president in history. And I admire his work ethic. So, I am watching Fox News on a regular basis and have done since 2015. I pretty much watch it 24/7. I was watching CNN a lot. I was watching all the news networks until it became apparent that they were just promoting the Democrats' talking points almost verbatim. No, absolutely verbatim every day. And they became an echo chamber for the DNC. And so I could see through that they were just campaigning for the removal of the Trump administration. So I just focused now on Fox News, BBC World Service, and even the BBC World Service, I've lost a bit of respect for them too in the last 6 months. They've become less neutral. ABC News Australia, I've lost all respect for them. I used to have great respect for them, but no, they're just another department of the Democratic Party of America, and they're against Trump. So it's very hard to find an objective, independent news source covering Trump fairly, because he's had a lot of achievements, and they're not getting any credit. He's getting no credit for moving the capital to Jerusalem. He's getting no credit for the Middle East peace deals. He's getting no credit for not one but 2 visits to visit the North Korean leader. He's getting no credit for the economy, and he should. He's getting no credit for containing the COVID pandemic to under millions of deaths, because that's what it should be. It should be about 2 million deaths by now, in my humble opinion. And it's only 250,000. Now, even if it goes to 500,000, as it probably will within the next year or two, I believe that compared to a population of 330 million, that's to be expected in a pandemic. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. People have to get out to work. They've still got to go to school. Industry has to keep clicking over. And this has been Trump's point all through this year of 220. He just wants to get the country back to work as best they can, working around the pandemic. They cannot surrender to the pandemic. They cannot shut the country down as Biden wants to do. They cannot shut fracking down as Biden wants to do. You can't transition quickly to green energy. It's going to take 30 years. And what are you going to do in the 30-year transition? You're going to have massive unemployment, and you're going to be retrofitting buildings with multi-trillion-dollar budgets just to have smaller windows or more echo-sensitive fittings. I mean, it's just nonsense. The things that are being proposed, and don't get me started on the abortion issue, because I feel sorry for anyone that accidentally falls pregnant and they want to have an abortion. But I'm sorry, but have the baby, but adopt it out. If you've been raped, that's dreadful. If you find out that your infant is going to be horribly deformed, of course you can have an abortion then. But I do not believe that it's totally up to the woman that if she wants to abort a fetus, she should be allowed to abort a fetus. Sorry, that's not on. Because we're all humans. We're the human race, and we should be allowed to help each other in times of need. And if you have a tragedy, the community or the elders of that community should be allowed to give fatherly or parental type advice to young girls or women of any age if they fall into a situation where they have got themselves into a terrible situation. They should be able to be helped. And that baby can either be adopted out or it can be terminated under certain situations. If the mother's life is in danger, of course, there are exceptions. But I'm not in favour of just carte blanche, full-term baby abortions. I'm not in favour of that at all. And that's what these Democrats are in favour of. It's all the way with Planned Parenthood, all the way with body harvesting of baby parts with Planned Parenthood, and I'm against that. So anyway, I follow the news on Fox, probably 18 hours a day, every day, just to keep myself up to date with the other side of the story, because I hear all the other garbage on all the other news channels that I listen to occasionally, and I can smell a phony story very easy. And there's a lot of fake news out there, a lot of fake news. And Trump is right. He's not always right. Some of the things he comes out with are just plain silly. I agree with that. But he's just like that uncle you have at the barbecue. You love him, but you don't always pay attention to him. But you know he means well. And that uncle would come to your rescue if you were broken down in the mountains 4 hours from town and you rang and you had no one else to ring but that uncle. He would come and save you. No questions. He wouldn't say, you got yourself into that mess, you get yourself out. Or he wouldn't make up an excuse not to help. He would just say, fine, I'm on my way. I'll be there in a couple of hours and we'll save you. That's how I see Trump. He doesn't have to be a genius. He surrounds himself with people who are more clever than him. And that's the art of the deal. Anyway, Lord Reags over and out. That's 15 minutes. And I hope you've enjoyed it. And I have respect for the Bidens. Jill Biden's, not so much Joe Biden, because he lies a lot. And Hunter Biden, don't get me started.